Welcome back, everybody. We made it. We're here at the end, webcast series number 9, subpart F, audit requirements. So just to remind everybody, this is the 9th session of our webcast series, the final session of our webcast series. Also, just want to remind everybody, if you haven't seen or downloaded yet our supplemental webcast resources, we have about 10 resources online that's going to be really helpful for you in implementing practical tools for implementing the 2 CFR guidance. At the end of this session, I'm actually going to go over one of the tools that we haven't addressed yet, the core administrative systems self-assessment tool and internal control questionnaire, just to kind of give everybody an orientation on how you could use that to sort of practically check yourself, make sure things are up to snuff in terms of your compliance with the 2 CFR 200. So we'll get to that at the end. But for that part, for now, we are focused on subpart F, audit requirements 200, 500 through 521. How many can tell me what was the OMB circular that this came from? The law? Anybody? A133, great. Okay, so you're probably all very familiar with A133. We've gone through a few audits, so you will recognize many of these the text. So what we're really doing here is focusing on things that have changed. And so let's take a look at the purpose of audit requirements is to set forth the standards for obtaining consistency, uniformity among federal agencies for the audit of non-federal entities expending federal awards. That's the general purpose. The effective applicability dates, they became effective for federal agencies December 26, 2013, and it applies to all audits of fiscal years beginning on or after December 26, 2014. Bottom line, all audits that you have in place right now are in effect and subject to subpart F. The focus of the changes or the new language is really to kind of cover, the purpose is to reduce risk, fraud, waste, and abuse. So the things, the emphasis that got changed or added really are about, greater focus on how do we reduce the risk, fraud, and waste and abuse of our federal funds. Other big change was the threshold, 500,000 to 750,000. There is the requirements and some exceptions that we'll cover regarding tribes being able, the requirement to submit your audit to the federal audit clearinghouse. There's some exceptions and also some responsibilities with those exceptions for tribes. And then, of course, the purpose is to, there's also some mandates for the agencies, federal agencies, to encourage cooperation between agencies in managing audit findings, and also reliance on the single audit once the report is issued. So we'll take a look at each one of those requirements. So if you want to follow along, again, you can follow along either in the text of the 2 CFR 200 guidance that we have for you, or you can follow along in the crosswalk side by side if you prefer and you'd like to see, hey, I want to see it myself. That's the way I learn. I like to see what's really changed. And so however you want to follow along, but we're going to cover specifically the things that have changed and talk about what impact that might have for us. So the first one, 200-501, paragraph A. We've already mentioned this, but this is the paragraph where the threshold is changed to $750,000. So note subpart F, there is of the NAHASA regulation also addresses program-specific requirements for audits for the Indian Housing Block Grant. So sort of a duplication, but again reinforces that the audits are eligible under the Indian Housing Block Grant program at 1,544. Subpart paragraph F, subrecipients and contractors. So This makes the point an auditor may simultaneously be both a recipient, a subrecipient, and a contractor. And here's where in A133, where the term vendor was used and now has been replaced consistently throughout A133 with the term contractor. So, so we recommend, again, go back to your personnel policy, excuse me, not your personnel policy, your finance policies, and check, make sure, you know, that if you use vendor in your procedures or something, replace that with the term contractor to be consistent. But again, this paragraph recognizes that you may, a tribe or recipient may be, at one time you could be a subrecipient from another agency for federal funds. You could also be a contractor, but also the recipient. 503, relation to other audit requirements. Some expanded language and emphasis added here in this section. The point of 503 and the expanded language is really to say that they want federal agencies to rely on the single audit once it's issued. They expended federal funds. They want the federal agencies to say, no, we're not going to just do another whole audit. No, we're going to rely on that audit. But it doesn't constrain the agency from requiring if they find deficiencies or the audit's not covering specific necessary items, they can arrange for additional audits. The key is that it must build on, it must not be duplicative of the work in the audit, and it must build upon previous work performed. So bottom line, if the audit as it's posted on the Federal Audit Clearinghouse, if it meets the needs of the agency, what this is saying is it must rely on it. So. 504, frequency of audit. So this is a provision that, and we found already a couple tribes that this applied to. If a state, local government, or Indian tribe that is required by Constitution or statute in effect on January 1st, 1987, to undergo its audits on a biennial rather than an annual, the requirements must still be in effect for the biennial period. So what this is saying, every 2 years, if your tribal constitution documents, statute required audits on a 2-year basis, this is giving you that support for that. So, 506, now instead of, remember yesterday we were talking about allowable cost for audits, and so that's located at 425 in subpart E on the cost principles. So now that came from A130, the former A133. So now when you get to this section in subpart F on allowable costs for audit, it simply refers you back to subpart E at 425. Again, we're making a point to remind folks for the Indian Housing Block Grant Program, it addresses allowable costs for audits also in 1,546, and specifically the language is program specific for IHBG is periodic financial review. So if you don't meet the threshold for a required single audit, it does allow for you to do an alternate periodic financial review. It is an eligible cost under the Indian Housing Block Grant. Okay, so 508. In 508, there's paragraph C and D are new to this section from the former A133. So auditee responsibilities, procure the audit, prepare the schedule of expenditures of federal awards, CFA, and then the new section is prompt follow-up corrective actions on audit findings, and then provide the auditor with access to records. So we'll take a look at these individually. So 509, auditor selection. So let's take a look at what's changed here. The new language in here is the objective is to obtain high quality audits. So in this section, in talking about selecting an auditor, the language is focusing us to look at that the purpose of what we're trying to accomplish is to obtain high quality audits, not just any old audit will do, but really focusing on the qualifications. And so that leads to this new section here, or new language. The objectives and scope of the audit must be made clear, and the non-federal entity must request a copy of the audit organization's peer review report, which the auditor is required under generally accepted government accounting standards. So this is kind of an interesting thing. It did used to refer to the peer report, but this is the first time it says it's a requirement. So it's a part of your purchasing. It must be like in your RFP for audit selection. You want to have that they are required to provide a peer review report. So the peer review is basically the auditors review each other, and they look at a sampling of audits that they've completed, and then they make a judgment or a report on that to say, yeah, it was done well, it met the standards of the Single Audit Act, etc. So having that document, that letter in hand, allows you to really see how he is being viewed or being judged by his peers in terms of carrying out the audits. So the kicker is here, it says you must request it. It doesn't say you must rely on it. So that's going to be, again, going back to, we all have to make our own judgments about, the objective. Going back to the objective is to obtain high quality audits. And so and just one more point on that. We'll come to a section a little bit later of some changes. There's some additions to auditor responsibilities. And once we go over that, you might be able to see why it's really important for us to really take the time to get a good auditor. It's to our benefit to do that. Yeah. Okay, 511, the new section that's added here under Auditee responsibilities. So the corrective action plan and summary schedule of prior audit findings must include findings related to the financial statements, which are required to be reported in accordance with generally accepted government auditing standards. So that's a new language that's added under Auditee responsibilities. So this is in reference to we're required to provide a corrective. When we receive a finding, it's our responsibility as an auditee to prepare a corrective action plan. And so what this is saying is our corrective action plan that we develop, it must be related specifically to those cited audit findings. And it's got to meet these specific requirements. Paragraph 2, some changes in there. When audit findings were not corrected or were only partially corrected, the summary schedule must describe the reasons for the findings' recurrence and planned corrective action. So when we have an audit, we get findings, we prepare a corrective action plan. Next year, the auditor comes back, they look and say, did this get fixed? Is it corrected? And so we now have to, as part of our follow-up requirements, we have to prepare this summary schedule, and we have to address, yes, we addressed this, we corrected it, it's been corrected, but if we didn't correct it, what this is saying, we have to give a reason for why did it reoccur. So, again, another example of the added emphasis, accountability that we have with regard to our audits. Paragraph C, some change in the language there. At the completion of the audit, the auditee must prepare in a document separate from the auditor's findings in 516. So the auditor, he prepares his findings. We are required to do the separate document, which I just mentioned. So a corrective action plan to address each audit finding, including the current year auditor's reports. So here's the thing, we want the name of the contact person, the person responsible for the corrective action, the actual corrective action planned, and the anticipated completion date. So also it says, and this is not new, but this is just to reiterate that if you don't agree with the audit finding, or you believe it's not required, then you can provide that in your corrective action, your reason for why it's not valid. So your auditor didn't cite the proper location, regulation of what you were out of compliance. It was too general, too broad. So you argue that, hey, it was not, we believe we are in compliance with section whatever, 1,500, whatever. Okay, so you can argue that out in your corrective action plan. 512, in paragraph A1, we only had 30 calendar days after, that was the verbiage for when the audit was due, 9 months after the end of the audit period. So now it's clarified, because unfortunately we do wait to the last minute. So I guess this has been an issue. If it falls on a Saturday or a Sunday, it clarifies that if it falls Saturday, Sunday, or a federal holiday, the reporting package is due the next business day. So when you're writing that corrective action plan and getting that together, we have one more day. We have the weekend, and we can get it on Monday. Okay. So unless restricted by federal statutes or regulations, you must make the audit copies available for public inspection. The auditees and the auditors have responsibility ensuring that the package does not include protected, personally identifiable information. So if something in the documentation or the audit had anything that related to any protected personal identifiable information, both the auditor, the auditee, and the auditor have that responsibility to make sure that that's purged out. And this is the exception we were talking about earlier, that it's in 205.12. So the requirement here is we are required to submit our audit to the Federal Audit Clearinghouse. It's posted, it's made public on the Federal Audit Cloud. You can go to that website anytime, click in your tribe, and you can see all the audits and all the summary of the statements of those audits and what findings you had, etc. So the tribe has the exception here, may choose not to authorize the Audit Clearinghouse to make the reporting package publicly available on a website by excluding the authorization for the FAQ publication. So here's the kicker: if you exercise that option, then you have to, you become responsible for submitting the reporting package directly. If you have a pass-through entity, you have that responsibility to submit that package to the pass-through entity, and also to provide the entity a status on any findings that you had, your summary of corrective actions and any updates to those corrective actions. So those are the exceptions for that. Again, B2, it says, continuing on the exceptions and the conditions, if you elect to do that, is to, unless restricted by federal statute or regulation, it must make the copies of the reporting package available for public inspection. So you still have to make it available if someone wants to come and see that. It has to be made available for public inspection. So, questions on that? Sound good? Okay. Moving on, 516, audit findings. So this is where we're going to kind of focus on what is required by the auditor and how they relate these findings. So there's this new language here is highlighted in red, is the new language in this section: significant deficiencies and material weaknesses. in internal control over major programs and significant instances of abuse relating to major programs. So that's the new language in there for a paragraph 1. So that's what the auditor is required to report: material weaknesses and significant instances of abuse relating to the major programs. So a little more emphasis and responsibility for the auditor to make sure that if they identify and they see significant abuses, that they are required to report that in the findings. 516A, so the threshold for question cost has increased from $10,000 for both major, non-major programs, so it's now $25,000. So, so what they're looking at is what's going to be material in terms of a finding if there's a question cost on a transaction. If what's going to make it major or material is if it's over $25,000. Paragraph 5, again, continuing on with 516A, reasons for audit findings. What's added is the reasons for opinion that is other than unmodified opinion. And then 6, known or likely fraud affecting the federal award does not require the auditor to report publicly information that could compromise an investigative or legal proceeding. So if an auditor finds instances or occurrences of fraud, they're not required to make that information if there's potentially going to be an investigation with the Inspector General. So they have the ability to not make that public in order to make sure it's not hindered, the proceeding, the investigations are not hindered. So. But just to back up, make a point on there, if an auditor is not going to give an unmodified opinion, which is the best opinion, if you can get, like, it's clear, you have no issues, no qualifications to that, that's what this is saying. They have to give the reasons. If it's not if it's other than an unmodified opinion, the auditor report is required to say why. Why is it not an unmodified opinion? So sometimes you see audits and they're not all that clear. They don't give that unmodified opinion, but you don't really know why. Yeah, it really isn't disclosed. 516. Simple word, but I love it, and I'm glad it got added in there. When you're on the other side of getting audits or having to do corrective actions, you really appreciate that this language is in here. So the added word is audit findings, detail, and clarity. So audit findings must be presented in sufficient detail and clarity for the auditee to prepare a corrective action plan and take the corrective action, and for federal agencies and pass-through entities to arrive at a management decision. So sometimes you get an audit, and this goes back to that, why it's so important to get a quality audit. Take the time to do that, because if they do make a finding, it needs to be very clear what is out of compliance and what is the occurrence, what has taken place and what you will need to do. If it's written really well, it sort of lends itself to easily developing the corrective action plan. But if you have to just sit there and decipher, I don't really know what he's talking about, it's real vague, you're out of compliance with A87, it's too broad. All right, so continuing on that same point, paragraph 2, so this is the new language that got added in there. The criteria or specific requirement on which the audit finding is based, including the federal statutes, regulations, or the terms and conditions of the federal award. Criteria generally identify the required or desired state or expectation with respect to the program or operation. So criteria provides a context for evaluating evidence and understanding findings. So again, what we're talking about here, this is what your auditor is required to provide to you in your audit report if they write a finding. Paragraph 4 goes on and clarifies that as part of that audit finding, there's the statement of cause should be written that identifies the reason or explanation for a condition or the factors responsible for the difference between the situation as it exists, the condition, and the required or desired state, the criteria. So those two things, what's the condition, what's the state of things, what's the criteria, what should we be, where should we be? When you understand those two gaps, then you can easily prepare corrective action. Could be writing the policy, could be developing a procedure, it could be redoing your internal controls so that certain individuals are accountable for certain steps in the management system or process. Paragraph 5 under B, again, along that same emphasis for detail and clarity. A statement of the effect or potential effect should provide a clear link to the impact. So if we're not, here's the condition, here's the criteria, so what is the potential effect or impact of that gap? And then 6, it should also have the identification of question costs and how they were computed. So a known question cost must be identified by the applicable CFDA Catalog Federal Domestic Assistance number. Every grant is assigned a particular number, and so if you have an audit finding, it should identify that particular grant program and also the federal award ID number. Important, if I've had to work on a few audit findings. This is important for this last sentence in paragraph 7 that was added, regarding the number of cases that were examined and how they quantified the question costs and dollar value. So the auditor is required to state or should report whether the sampling was a statistically valid sample. So really, making sure they're not making some sort of broad jumps about what the question costs are, what the level of incompliance, so is it, if we did, 20% of the files, was it statistically valid to arrive at the logical conclusion for question cost? And then I think this last paragraph, paragraph 8, identification of whether the audit finding was a repeat of a finding, so in the immediate prior audit, and if so, any applicable prior year audit finding numbers. So again, this is back to that corrective action. If it's reoccurring, the emphasis is going to be, hey, why is it reoccurring? And so that's the responsibility that we have as auditees to make sure that we address that in our summary of corrective action and our update on the status of those. And so here's the link to that for the auditor. C, reference numbers. Each audit finding in the schedule of findings and question costs must include a reference number in the format meeting the requirements of the data collection form. So the audit form that you fill out as part of the federal audit clearinghouse that you must submit, this is saying that when the auditor issues his report, it must be logically connected to those reference numbers on the federal audit clearinghouse form. Major program determination, we want to take a look at in 518, what's changed under major program determination. So the changes that that we're going to look at here reflect, again, emphasis on the focus on oversight and looking at where's the greatest risk of waste, fraud, and abuse of taxpayer dollars. So 518B1, just as a refresher for folks, your programs, your federal programs, if they're auditing multiple federal funds, they are looking at to identify what are the type A or major programs in order to audit. So they're analyzing the amount of federal funds, which programs have the highest risk, and then that's where they're going to focus their audit. So you have type A, B programs, and so you're either above or that threshold, depending on if your program's above or below that threshold will be how they conduct the audit. So a couple changes to point out here. The AB threshold is a sliding scale with a minimum, so the minimum increase from 300,000 to 750,000. And then also what they've done in the uniform guidance, they've presented it in a table, so it's a little easier to understand. So the AB, again, threshold is because it's the audit triggers at 750,000, so the threshold is 750,000 for both A and B programs. So here's what the chart in your guidance looks like. So what this means is that we are going to, if you have $750,000, it's equal to 750,000, but less than or equal to 25 million. So those would all be A programs. If it exceeds 25 million, but less than or equal to 100 million, then the threshold is going to be total of federal award expended times 0.03. And then that should cover all of us. We would like to have that problem, right? To have exceeds 1 billion. Oh boy, that'd be something. So 518C goes into some new language, criteria language added for how type A programs are determined to be low risk. So this is the basic criteria right here. In order for a major program to be determined low risk, that should not have any control deficiencies, no material weaknesses, must not have a modified opinion. So if it has a modified opinion, that means it's going to be a high-risk program. And then also there's no question costs that are greater than 5% of the total federal awards expended for that program. So criteria for determining a program to be low risk. Another change in the percentage of coverage rule under paragraph A. So this is where an auditor determines the amount of the program funding that they're going to look at. So it changed from 25% to 20% for low-risk auditees, and it's changed from 50% to 40% for all other auditees of total federal awards expended. So we're going to look at. I'm going to look at the auditor. If you are, a low-risk auditee, they're going to look at 20% of your federal funds expended of that federal award. That's what they're going to focus in. So again, this is all about risk management. Where is the greatest risk? So then you can see the difference between, low risk versus high risk. If you're low risk, they're going to look at a greater volume of your spending. Added in the list of criteria for low-risk auditee, paragraph D, and is that if the auditor did not report a substantial doubt about the auditee's ability to continue as a going concern. So this is a new paragraph added in the listing of the criteria for what would be considered a low-risk auditee. So kind of an important thing here, if the auditor has substantial doubt about your ability to really continue as a going concern, really issues, then that's going to put you in a low risk or high risk status. 521, and we are this is the last section here in the changes in the audit. So time requirements. So the federal awarding agency or pass-through entity is responsible for issuing the management decision. So, and must do so within 6 months of acceptance of the audit report in the federal audit clearinghouse. So the change, again, and we've emphasized this the other day, is the auditee must initiate and proceed with corrective action as rapidly as possible, and corrective action should begin no later than upon receipt of the audit report. So previously the language stated it could be that we had to initiate our corrective action within 6 months. So a lot of non-compliance can happen in that. You know, it's like. But anyway, so this makes the point that as soon as the auditor gives you the, you know, the exit interview, he goes over the findings that you have. This is saying take immediate action to correct that. So that's the emphasis on 521, and that is a wrap-up of our training session number 9. Just before we complete this session, I wanted to just point out a tool that's part of your supplemental tools, and a way that you can sort of maybe get like a checklist to make sure, because we've covered a lot of things that changed in what's going to be required. You know, you might be asking yourself, well, what do I do now? What are the things that I need to do to implement and actually make changes back home? So the first thing is, and I mentioned it in our first session, if you look at the document assessing the OMB uniform guidance, changes, implications, recommendations for HUD ONAP recipients. So what we've tried to do is lay this out by systematically. It follows logically through the whole guidance, beginning with 200-102. So there's a topic, changes enacted by uniform guidance in the second column, and then the final column is implications or recommendations. So just a brief comment about here's the change, here's the implications of that change, here's a recommended action. So for example, in this section, if you go to the very end, there is the section on auditor selection. The new language in there is the non-federal entity must request a copy of the audit organization's peer review. So we think this could be an impact for tribes because, you know, in the field sometimes we realize that folks don't always get a good quality auditor. You know, even though they're getting audits and they're not getting findings, you would think, okay, I'm not getting any findings. That's great. That's a good auditor, right? Could be, and hopefully that's the case, but eventually if an auditor is not actually doing good work for you, that's going to come to light. You're going to have an ONAP monitoring visit, and all of a sudden that's where you go, oh, we got 6 pages of findings, but we had all these years of a clean audit. So it can backfire on you. So, you know, really, just from my own personal experience, it pays to get a good auditor and keep your systems clean. So recommendation for that is to, you know, look at your RFP or procurement for audits services. Make sure you do include that language in your RFP to request their peer review. Put that in your point system for how you evaluate. If they don't submit you a peer review, I would recommend you dismiss them as a non-responsive proposal. So, in the other example, management decision 521, the auditee must proceed with corrective action. So our recommendations is revise your timelines for completing the audit process, ensuring corrective action is initiated as rapidly as possible, and provide training to necessary staff on that. So everyone, from the tone at the top, everyone understands that, hey, when an audit is identified in our organization, our housing authority, TDHE or tribe, we're going we're all going to work together and we're going to fix this right away, you know, so that everyone is of the same mind and objectives. Okay, so the other document to point out to you, a couple other ones, is if you just, it's the document that is titled the Core Administrative Systems Self-Assessment Tool. This is really a combination, it's really a method and assessment tool that you can use. What we've done is just taken all of the NAHASDA requirements for Indian Housing Block Grant with the 2 CFR changes, the 2 CFR requirements, standards, and we've merged them into this document in what we call the Core Administrative Systems. So, so financial management, so it's categorized by financial management, internal controls, property management, procurement management, performance and financial monitoring reporting, records management, cost principles, and audits. So where there are program-specific requirements for the Indian Housing Block Grant, say regarding property, useful life, total development costs, they're also merged in with the 2 CFR 200 requirements. So the way this tool works is if you are the executive director and you have managers working for you in specific areas, or finance manager, the first column is the responsible manager. He would look at the standards, make an assessment of whether or not you think you've addressed that, or you have an internal control system in place, a policy, procedure that addresses that standard. So your manager, he'll make his own personal determination of either full compliance, partial compliance, or no compliance, or non-compliance. And so then now the director has a chance to sit down with the manager and say, okay, let me see how let's argue this out. Do we think we really do have this covered? So the executive director or senior level manager might say, I think we could improve on our compliance with that. Let's add an additional operating procedure here to ensure we have the proper internal controls on, you know, environmental reviews, you know, backup documentation for our procurement, who signs off when and at what time, what sequence. So this is just a tool that you could use. It's just us putting together regulations in one place for you to kind of go through as a checklist, and it's a way to self-check yourself. The following document after that is the internal control questionnaire and assessment. So this was a tool that's been around for a while, and it's referenced to the COSO framework. So in this, you can actually get a sort of a primer on the COSO framework, the basics of internal control in just the first couple of pages. And so then it covers each of the 5 components of the framework, and then also the principles, the 17 principles. So this is a questionnaire that you can go through with your council, your board. You know, a lot of folks need to get involved in assessing this, and you can make a determination. So for example, number 1, the tribe, TDHE management, and the board's expectations translate into an organizational statement of beliefs, values, and standards of conduct that the staff exhibit daily. So you can make an assessment, a discussion about that, 1 to 5. Yeah, I think we do see that in our staff. And anyway, it goes through that to cover all 5 frameworks of the COSO framework. So again, another way to take a deeper dive into internal controls. Check yourself, see where you might have some weaknesses and deficiencies, and start working on that. So, and also a couple more, another document that's really going to be important for folks is the sample financial management policy and procedures. So remember, we talked about written procedures that need to be put in place for how you determine allowable cost. That we think that's going to be kind of a new thing for folks. So there's a sample procedure in here in the financial management policy that addresses that. Again, want to make sure everyone emphasize that when we have sample policies for you here, they are samples. They're not like plug in your name and it's good to go. They need to be, you know, customized to your organization, your staff, your people. So just want to caution everybody on that. So that's what we have, and then I think that's going to wrap up our session here. Thank you for your time, and happy compliance. All right.
Very good.
That's all I got.
You got a lot.